is Lubbock High School football standout, Pat Kelly. Pat was a two-way varsity football player and an outstanding track athlete at Lubbock High from 1967 to 1970. In 1969, he was team captain and was named All-District at both quarterback and safety, as well as All-Zone in both positions. The Dallas Morning News named Pat as one of the bluest of the blue top 20 players in the state of Texas. The Lubbock Avalanche Journal named Pat to the All-City team as quarterback and as the Player of the Year. He also received recognition from the District 4 4A coaches, who named him Player of the Year in District 4 4A. Pat was also named to the Lubbock High All-Decade team for the 1960s. Besides being an outstanding athlete, Pat was also an outstanding student, graduating in the top 5% of his class of 435. Pat went on to play football at the University of Texas, where he was a 3-year varsity letterman. In 1971 and 1973, he led the Longhorns in receiving yards. Pat was an academic All-American selection, maintaining a 3.68 GPA in accounting and pre-law. Head coach Darrell Royal said, Pat runs as sharp breaking routes as anyone we have had here. He's also just a super young man. Ladies and gentlemen, our newest inductee into the Hall of Honor is Lubbock High athlete Pat Kelly.
All right. Pat's daughter, Casey Kelly.
Stand over here.
Yeah, where are the cameras? Over here. They actually moved. These are
stupid as the other ones we had. No, y'all are doing great. And then Coach Bill Dean presenting the trophy for the board. How about this? Great job. I don't know what our problem is with all these Longhorns, but I do apologize sincerely. Yes.
Thank you so much. I'm humbled and grateful just to be included among these great athletes here tonight. I want to start by thanking my high school coach, Tommy Stone. He came from Abilene Cooper, where as an assistant head coach, his team was the state runner-up champion. He was dedicated, disciplined, and strong. Coach Stone was a member of the Army Reserve. He came to Lubbock High School and served only 6 years until he resigned to become a full-time member of the United States Army. But that last year, though, he took an undermanned and undersized Westerner team and won the district championship and claimed the Silver Spurs. So he went out on top. He later resigned from the U.S. Army at Fort Hood as a brigadier general. I want to thank him for helping me develop, and I want to thank him for his service to our country. Football is a team sport, and any success I've had, I owe entirely to my teammates at Lubbock High and at UT. I'm fortunate to have several LHS teammates here tonight. I want to call you out your name. Please wave, and I appreciate you being here. My receiver, Larry Stockton, who set the record for the most pass receptions in a single season. Dave Daniel, thank you. Gary Snyder, Jack Butler, James Durham, and Wilson Lethbridge. I also want to thank my favorite sister, she's my only sister, Karen Tipton, who gave me a lot of support growing up, and I want to recognize my brother-in-law, Perry Tipton. I had a pretty good college coach, Darrell K. Royal. He won 3 national championships and 11 Southwest Conference championships in 20 years, including 3 consecutive Southwest Conference titles in my 3 years under him. And we finished number 3 in the nation my junior year when we beat Alabama in the Cotton Bowl. Royal was an All-American defensive back and punter in college, and his record as a quarterback was 16-1. When we'd have team meetings, I would look around the room and I would think, you know, Royal's probably the best athlete in this room. And the room was always full of All-Americans, Heisman Trophy candidates, and future pro players. He was no nonsense and tough, but he was also known for his witty sayings. The press called them Royalisms. He said, for example, you got to dance with the one who brung you. And you got to think lucky. If you fall into a mud pit, check your back pocket. You might have caught a fish. One of his most famous Royalisms was, only 3 things happen when you pass, and 2 of them are bad. And I think, while I played for Coach Royal, he would whisper to himself, especially when Pat Kelly was in the game. No joke. One year we beat Texas A&M 34-7, and we didn't throw a single pass. Royal invented the wishbone, and it was 3 yards in a cloud of dust, or a cloud of astroturf. We didn't have receivers. We only had a tight end and a split end, and the split end was down in a 3-point stance. Many times I'd be in the huddle on 3rd and long, and Royal would send in a play from the sideline, and I'd whisper to the quarterback, pass play, and he'd say, nope, it's a run, and if we don't make a first down, we'll just punt. True story, my senior season, we were playing Baylor. They weren't very good, and we were heavily favored. We were standing in the tunnel getting ready to take the field, and Royal came over to me and said, Kelly, I think you ought to sit out this game. You keep breaking your fingers, and they're not healing. I broke my fingers all season long. I've got my arthritic fingers to show for this, but they just taped them together and rubbed dirt on them. But I said, Coach Royal, there's only 3 games left this season. I'm a senior. I'd like to play. Besides, do you really think you're going to have someone throw me a pass today? He thought for just a few seconds and said, no, you're right. We're not going to pass today. You can go ahead and play. So I'm not really sure why I'm up here, but I'm truly humbled and honored to be selected by this committee, and I truly appreciate it. Last story, many years ago when my son was at Austin High School, we made a trip out here to see my sister Karen and her family. For the first time, I took Clay to Lowry Field, and we looked around, and he said, Dad, did you really play your high school football in this stadium? The stadium is spectacular. We then walked across to the Bobby Magle Field, and my son, who ended up playing college baseball at Dallas Baptist University, looked around and said, my gosh, this baseball complex and softball complex are fantastic. The outstanding Pete Regas Aquatic Center is where my Carroll Thompson Junior High School used to be. They tore it down and built a lasting facility in the swim center, and the tennis complex next to it is first class. All of the facilities that LISD has done are exceptional. The LISD has done things the right way. I want to thank and compliment this LISD board for this wonderful banquet tonight. I know it's hard work. I'm so glad I grew up in Lubbock and played in the LISD. I predict continued future success for the Lubbock Independent School District and its athletes. Thanks again so much.